What's up everyone, Soldier First Class here. In today's mission, we're going to discuss why Final Fantasy VII Remake's combat system is more like the original than you think. Now before you get out your torches and pitchforks, stay tuned soldiers, it's time for our next mission. Final Fantasy VII Remake's combat system has been a major factor in the controversy surrounding the game. Even with the addition of Classic Mode, turn-based purists still say this isn't what they wanted. However, the original Final Fantasy VII was not turn-based either, as it utilized the ATB system, or Active Time Battle system. You'd wait for your ATB bar to fill, then you could attack or use magic, items, or summons. This gave the original a semi-turn-based system that got away from the basic attack and wait, turn-based modes of the past. As we've seen in the fanbase since the action-based announcement, there's been a large divide between those that like the new system and those that hate it. However, the only major difference between Final Fantasy VII and its remake is that players can now use attack as a free move around the battlefield, and summons function a little differently. If you look at it in a different perspective, it's really not that much different at its core, and some are actual improvements. A lot of people are comparing this to a hack-and-slash game or a reskin of Final Fantasy XV, but that's not exactly true either. Final Fantasy VII Remake features menu-driven combat that functions just like in the original, although you do have the choice to make it almost completely action-based by utilizing the shortcuts menu. When you enter tactical mode, the game slows down and allows you to select your individual ATB abilities. This is similar to a wait mode you'd see with the original's battle settings. In Final Fantasy VII Remake, you'll need your free attacks to charge your ATB gauge faster. This for me is an improvement because number one, who wants to waste their ATB gauge on a simple attack, and number two, because it gives you the chance to fire off more of your abilities. You'll still need to charge the ATB bars before you can use your abilities like magic and items, so there's no difference there either. If you didn't have the original game set to wait mode, you'd have to select your moves as soon as your bar filled up, or the enemies would continue attacking until you were dead. This makes it pretty similar to an action-style combat system because you have to be aware of your situation at all times. It also brings up the question, is movement on the battlefield really that bad? If you ask fans of Dragon Quest XI, it's not. Dragon Quest XI was completely old-school turn-based, but it still had its movement feature. Movement wasn't a major focus of the Dragon Quest XI combat, but it was a feature you had available to you, and the remake is no different. There's also this large argument between genres because each one thinks their style is the one for higher thinking intellectuals. There's advantages to both combat systems and each require their own skill set and strategy to survive. I think as gamers we need to appreciate what both genres bring to the table and understand that Nomura and Katase are creating a system that will please both. We'll take a look at both styles, but first let's take a look at what strategy is required in turn-based or active time battle systems. In these systems you need to make every move count. What I mean by that is you only get one shot every other turn, so you have to pick your spots. That means you have to strategize when you use your glass cannon attacks, or chip away with smaller attacks, use items, or heal. Learning enemy patterns is also a major key, as you need to know what attacks each enemy is capable of and how much damage you can prevent. You also need to equip your characters for victory, as the wrong equipment can lead you to a quick game over. You also can't sit down the controller, as waiting too long to attack will give the enemy more attacks and lead to defeat. Now let's take a look at Final Fantasy VII Remake's action-based combat. With blocking, dodging, and attacking, you'll need to make every attack count. You'll need to know when to use your ATB abilities or chip away and rebuild those bars, use items, and heal. You'll need to learn your enemy's attack patterns and the abilities they use and how to defend yourself or get out of the way. You'll need to equip the right weapons and armor so you don't get demolished by even the simplest of enemies. You also can't take your hands off the controller, as not attacking will get you game overs as well. Looks to me like each combat system shares a lot of the same core themes, and both require their own special strategy to overcome. So let's look at all the evidence we have and determine whether Final Fantasy VII Remake's combat system is more like the original than you think. You have to use ATB for abilities, items, and summons, menu-driven ability combat, materia system for abilities, magics, and summons, and you'll also be able to individually select which ATB abilities your party uses while they use their free attacks to charge the ATB bar. Sounds pretty much like the original combat system, with more movement and freely being able to attack without the use of a precious ATB bar. I actually really like these improvements and feel they add a great spin on the original system. We'll also be utilizing the materia system in Final Fantasy VII Remake, something that was core to the combat in Final Fantasy VII. Tetsuya Nomura has told us that it will function almost exactly the same as the original, and from everything we've seen, it's pretty close to it. The only difference is that summon materia is its own separate system, and that some materia was removed to fit the more action-based style. So while we're on the topic of summons, let's discuss for a minute the summoning system. I know a lot of people are upset about this, and I touched on why I like the new system in a recent video. Basically, I feel as though summons are these great mythical creatures, and they're very large in size and power. From a modern perspective, it makes sense that they would be limited to larger areas and for important fights, because limitation makes them special. In the original game, summons were amazing, but you could only summon Knights of the Round so many times before the spectacle wore off and you were in the kitchen making a sandwich while you waited for it to be over. They've also added something that I was hoping they would put in the game. Summons will now battle alongside you on the battlefield, and this is something we saw in Final Fantasy X and 12, but now all party members will be available and you can issue ATB commands to your summons. So while you lose the ability to spam them, you also gain the ability to control them and your party, which I think gives you more quality time with your favorite battle partner. There's also the issue of not being able to control your individual party members constantly. Do you really need to have control over their individual basic attacks, or would you rather them stand on the battlefield lifeless waiting for your orders? This gives your allies something to do and doesn't make the environment seem lifeless. We've already seen how much life the banner between Cloud and Barret gives us, and to me, this would be less impactful if they just stood there waiting to attack. Even though change is coming, I think we as modern gamers need to be open to these changes. It's clear to me that they're putting their heart and soul into this game, and with Nomura and Takahashi behind the battle system, I have no doubt it will be great once we get our hands on it. Keep in mind, I'm a longtime Final Fantasy fan who's played all of their turn-based entries, and I actually love this new direction they're taking this game. Overall, I guess my real question here is, does a few button presses, battlefield movement, and slightly different summon system really make that big of a difference? They're allowing you the freedom to swing Cloud's Buster Sword and punch things with Tifa, all in real time. It's also allowing you to choose their abilities individually and switch between your party members at will. So I'll leave it up to you, soldiers. Is this system more like the original than you thought, or do you still think this game is nothing but a mindless hack and slash? Thanks for watching, and don't forget to omni-slash that like button. Let me know in the comments section below what you think of Final Fantasy VII Remake's combat system. Subscribe to the channel, and ring that notification bell to join the ranks of Soldier today. And for all the latest Final Fantasy VII Remake news, rumors, and trailers, I'm Soldier First Class, and I'm on to the next mission. Later, guys.